Hello there, folks, and Merry Christmas to you. It's currently 1:30 in the morning here in Chicago, Illinois, on Christmas Day. Well, we're going to do our obligatory holiday movie review like everybody does this time of year because it's holiday season. We love talking about our favorite holiday movies and our most hated holiday movies, even the good ones, the bad ones. We love them. Well, today I'm going to talk about the Home Alone trilogy, at least the first three released in theaters. Now, I've seen these films plenty of times. I've got VHS copies of all three of them. I didn't even know there was a fourth or a fifth one until, oh my god, about a year ago? Oh. But I, you can go in there watching the first film, and right away, this movie feels like Christmas. There's decorations, a Christmas tree. It's a beautiful film, directed by the first two were directed by Christopher Columbus, and the third was directed by a Raja Gosnell. And you could completely tell that these are different movies, especially the third one. The first movie is a classic. It's got all the ridiculous traps and villains that we've grown to love. It's got a real it's got great slapstick. It's got amazing music, and it's just a classic. The sequel, it kind of sorted as a lot of the same things from the first one, but it's still pretty damn good, especially with Tim Curry. Tim Curry just makes this movie for me. He's only in it for a little bit, but each moment he's in is just lovely, especially that grinchy smile he gives when he figures out that Kevin stole the credit card. It's something just very Tim Curry-ish about it, and it's just amazing. All three of these films are produced by John Hughes, the amazing director who brought us so many great movies in the 80s and early 90s, and he eventually kind of puttered out a little bit, but the first two films, you could just feel his presence. Everything from the Chicago atmosphere, the types of, the obligatory redheaded woman character, all sorts of little John Hughesy things. Like the lightning from, like when Marv turns into a skeleton in Home Alone 2. That was a really John Hughesy kind of thing to do. Now, one of the biggest things I want to talk to you about here is the music. Now, the music in the first two films is done by John Williams, and it is just a treat to listen to. It's quite beautiful, and in fact, the main theme is actually it won a bit of an award here. It won several awards for best. It was nominated for 2 Academy Awards for Best Original Score and for Best Original Song, Somewhere in My Memory, which I will play momentarily for you. Let's listen to that. Ah, wasn't that beautiful? That's great. Now, let's listen to the Home Alone 3 music, which was not done by Williams, which was done by come on, which was done by Nick Glennie Smith. Now, let's listen. Oh, God, it doesn't sound anything like the piece of the music in the first one. This music is much more rocky, much more poppy. Sometimes there's even spy music. It's weird. Now let's talk about strategy, since I felt like there was something kind of interesting. The two different characters, their strategies for protecting their home was kind of interesting, as Kevin tended to be a bit more of a guy prepared for the intruders entering the house. Like, he had a lot more defenses on the inside of the house, such as the paint cans on the stairs, the marbles on the ground, the glass ornaments on the floor, lots of things. Whereas Alex from the third movie, he was more of an outer perimeter kind of guy. His traps, it took the villains much longer to get inside the house in the third movie than it did for the Harry and Marv in the first and second movies. In fact, they almost get in right away in the second movie. Now I think about it, apart from one or two little things, they're inside the house rather quickly. I just figured that was worth watching, worth mentioning. Now, I'm not one of these people that absolutely wants to destroy this movie like some folks out there, but I do feel like it's a bit of a weaker product. You know, it feels like I wish that they had kept Kevin. You know, I know Macaulay Culkin was getting a bit old at this point, but still, this movie felt weaker. Eh? This whole spy thriller theme it was trying to do, it comes off as more unnecessary. It feels like it's almost from a different movie sometimes. You know, it's like they'll cut away to a scene where the mob boss is talking to the lead burglar, and it's like, are we still in Home Alone, or what are we doing here? And another thing about this film, they added a lot more crooks, and these are professional killers, assassins even, and they're getting beaten by a kid. It's just odd. I mean, it kind of made a little bit more sense with Harry and Marv, who were just idiotic burglars in the first two films. I mean, granted, they did escape prison in the second one, but they're still idiots. It's odd. Another thing is, the parents in this third movie seem kind of lazy. Like, they don't seem to believe him, Kevin, or Alex, at all. They just kind of leave him at home by himself. I mean, even at one point in the movie, they're like, yeah, Mrs. Hess, is there any trouble? Mrs. Hess will come on over. And it's like, why doesn't she just come over? This kid is way too young to be on his own. I know it's the suburbs, but no. I mean, I don't know. I do like this movie. I'll admit I got a little bit of a. I do kind of like the rock music sometimes, but it's just when you go from John Williams to anything else, it hurts. John Williams has produced some of the best scores in cinema. Star Wars, Indiana Jones. Oh, he's so good, and when you lose that, and you almost completely change genre. It's very, very strange. I did like that there was a lot of callbacks to the other films, particularly with some of the defenses in the house, such as the rat thing from Home Alone 3, instead of the tarantula from the first movie, and there were little touches here and there, but and plus the end of the third movie feels like it's almost exactly copying the end of the second movie with the whole fireworks show. Giving away the position of all the criminals. I don't know. Maybe one of these days I'll check out Home Alone 4 and 5. But until then, I'm going to stick to the first two. The third one if absolutely necessary. Well, thank you for watching our Home Alone Christmas special. Thank you. And Merry Christmas.